the Baltimore Ravens, our last for today. Big offseason with DeAndre Hopkins coming in, Chidobe Awuzie coming in. Um, they had Malachi Starks in the first round. But also, I mean, I thought Joe Noteboom was actually a pretty good acquisition too. If he's like your swing guy, like a
Yeah.
depth tackle. I mean, he was pretty good in LA for a little bit there. And so, but what I'm curious about, and this is why I'm like maybe slightly less optimistic on Baltimore, is you hold up the Ravens off season and the Bills, and those are two teams that I kind of view in like very close together, right? Very
Yeah.
similar categories, perpetually almost there.
Yep.
Buffalo's off season and general trajectory seems like it's in a better place to me than Baltimore. Is that unfair to say? Like Baltimore feels a little more stagnant to me. I don't know why.
I don't know. I would like view it as like I had a lot of questions about where they were from an offensive line standpoint last year.
True.
And like it just was sort of instructive on like them being a team you trust with internal development. And
Right.
that like there's going to be some player that you don't know as much about that's going to wind up being rock solid for you, you know? And
Right.
so like last year, look, they went into it with Roger Rosengarten and Daniel Falele and Andrew Voorhees as the potential starters. They wound up backing off on Voorhees a little bit, but now he's going to be starting this year. Linderbaum's the best center in football, probably.
Right.
Ronnie Stanley's still up there, left tackle, maybe not what he was. I don't know. I mean, like, and then you like look at like Zach Orr as the
My cousin.
yeah, your cousin as a second year defensive coordinator. So now do you get that second year bump that you got with Mike McDonald, right? Like where they were really great 2 years ago defensively because the coordinator had really kind of figured it out. Do you get more out of Trenton Simpson? You know, another guy you were kind of relying on last year that was kind of iffy. Um, there are those questions again, like I said, like where it's okay, like what are they going to be here and here and here and here? But I do think there's reason to believe that certain guys are going to come through for them, and I could see their rookies contributing too, like Malachi Starks and Mike Green. I think both have a chance to make an impact on defense. So I I don't know, like I think they're a pretty high floor team, don't you think?
It's a high floor team, and I think that the way that this gets pushed over the edge is because again, there was so much your first round pick, your second round pick, a fourth round pick, and three sixth round picks were spent on the defensive side of the ball, diversifying an already pretty good team. And now you have Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton back there at safety. You have Mike Green, who, I mean, but let's call it what it is, was available for a reason there.
Right.
But you have Mike Green now in that rotation with, Kyle Van Noy and, all these other guys. I mean, I think that the way forward for them, there's two different ways to do it. There's a way to impress me in terms of
Yeah.
going after free agency and building depth, or it's that kind of like we're talking about with Pittsburgh, a unit takes such a leap, up like a pronounced leap. And is that what Baltimore's kind of planning on here on the defensive side of the ball? I don't know.
I mean, I think the secondary, I mean, look, like they've got, I think, bona fide stars in Marlon Humphrey, who might not be quite what he was, but and Kyle Hamilton, and you're adding Malachi Starks. You have Nate Wiggins going into year two, which he looked like he was coming on as their first round pick
Mm-hmm.
late in the year. So maybe that improvement comes from your secondary, right? Like your
Yeah.
front seven's pretty good. You might have a secondary that's got a chance to be elite. And I don't know. Like I look across the roster here too, Connor, and I'm just like, I sort of like, you almost forget how many good players they have. Like Lamar's Lamar, Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry. On offense, you also still have Mark Andrews, you still have Isaiah Likely, you still have Ronnie Stanley, you still have Tyler Linderbaum, you still have Zay Flowers. Those are all really good players. Like Bateman is a number two. You have Hopkins coming in. We'll see what they get from him. And then defensively, Namdi Matabuke, like I said, Humphrey and Hamilton in the secondary. You have Roquan at middle linebacker. It's like you almost forget, like, there are a lot of really good players on the team. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just the balance and the fact that you've got, like, you almost have like a tentpole guy like in every position group, like a guy like that you can really trust is going to be a good player. It's I mean, I think I don't you want to see like want to go realistic expectations. You mentioned Buffalo. I put them in the same category. Like
I think they are too.
at some
Yep.
point, it's like at some point Lamar's got to get to a Super Bowl. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, and you've got Lamar in the prime of his career right now, the same way Buffalo's got Josh in the prime of his career. And I view teams that are in that position, like every one of and Cincinnati too, like for that matter, but like every one of these opportunities that you get, like is valuable. Like these are precious opportunities when you've
Mhm.
got a quarterback like that in the prime of his career. Like it's hard for me to say, like, it's hard for me to tell a Ravens fan that he or she should not be disappointed if they don't make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain teams that's it, right? And they're just
Yeah.
on that outer lip. I think that
And most of them are in the AFC is the problem.
and most of them are in the AFC, but I think that this could be a transitional year for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think they might be hitting their New England Patriots miniature gap as they retool and they try to get some
Ooh, we'll
guys in
get
there.
there. I have interesting thoughts on that too. But yeah, we'll get
Okay,
there.
all right. But you're right. There are some of these teams where Super Bowl and I'll qualify this because again, I hate saying Super Bowl or bust because like whatever. I'm in the Northeast. The Knicks just fired Tom Thibodeau for turning around that entire franchise
Yeah.
and just not beating the Pacers because he doesn't have a bench.
That's best year in 25 years. Thanks for everything, Tom.
Yeah, pack your shit. But that's and so I hate being like, if you don't make the Super Bowl, you blew it because I always add the qualifier as this. It's Super Bowl or it's you got completely jobbed by something in the conference title game that was out of your control, like an act of God. That to me is the same as a Super Bowl. And I know fans won't view it that way, but you have to view it that way, right? If there's some sort of snowstorm or there's some sort of an act of God that keeps you away from a Super Bowl, then I can count that as a team that's still good enough to be in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But you're right. I mean, there are just certain teams. But this year gets muddier for Baltimore. Now I can say it. Aaron Rodgers. Steelers are going to make it harder for them. And they gave it to Baltimore that first game, but then that second game, the Ravens really kind of put it on them and showed their superiority in the division. They don't get that opportunity this year. Possibly.
I mean, they have an interesting September too. At Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, at Kansas City.
Oh wow.
That's I mean, that is no joke coming out of the gate. And then after that, they've got the Texans and the Rams before their bye.
Yeah, that is I mean, if you could survive that, good luck to you. And then
things actually lighten up a little bit after that. So, but yeah. I mean, it was never going to be easy being the AFC North, but like, I mean, you're talking right there. It's like 5 really tough matchups in 6 games before your bye, and you haven't even played Cincinnati or Baltimore yet.
Listen, if you're the Ravens,
you haven't even played Cincinnati or Pittsburgh yet. You are Baltimore. Just to clarify, you are Baltimore.
To tie it all together, wouldn't you rather, Ravens fans, us talking about something like this than to be Dolphins fans screaming at us on YouTube for not saying that you guys aren't going to be 8-9 next year, which, I mean, I still think 9-8 is their best case scenario. But anyway, I'll double down. I'll get out of here.